the Inquirer for selecting me to be the keynote speaker this evening for their inaugural Diversity and Inclusion Gala. Please give the Inquirer a round of applause for convening us. Also, I want to welcome all of our practitioners, our advocates, our allies, and any other role you may play. We have pioneers we're celebrating today, people who've been in this space for many, many years. Whatever place you fit in this kind of ecosystem of diversity and inclusion, advancement in this region, we welcome you here today. And also we have a special congratulations to all that are being awarded this evening as well. Please give them a round of applause. I know that I stand between you, maybe some chicken, good conversation, and our award ceremony this evening, so I will be brief. Some of you may affectionately know the 5 B's. Anyone know the 5 B's? Be brief, brother, be brief. I will try to be brief. I will do my very best. I have my notes here because sometimes I tend to not let my subject get in the way of what I want to say. So I'm going to keep myself on track here. But I had the opportunity to have lunch with Michael Days and Michael Cruz, who's here somewhere as well, a few months ago. And I now know that that lunch was for them to either vet me, recruit me, or both for this evening. And I found it relevant to share with them how the Inquirer really played a role in my life as well. And when I was 9 years old, I was the paper boy in my neighborhood. And I had about 100 houses that were in my paper route. And I tell you, that was an amazing experience for me because I began to develop, work ethic. I was able to build social skills as well. On Fridays, I was also the collection agency for subscriptions. So I'm telling my age back then. So I would, knock on our customers' doors and ask them to pay their subscription on a weekly basis. And now I was 9 years old. I don't know how we got around child labor laws back then, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Also, when it was that experience that inspired me to my first entrepreneurial venture. At that time, I would go to door to door to my different on my route, and every once in a while, and the doors, just so they're not all designed this way, but midway through the door, around waist level, is where the mailbox was, and many of the mailboxes where I delivered the papers would have these towels in their mailbox. And I was curious why they would have towels in the mailbox, and later realized that it was because they didn't want our customers didn't want their drafts coming into the house, as well as people peeking into their potential house, like 9-year-old paper boys who were stalking them for their subscription fees. And that inspired me to create something called a mail slot shade. It was my first invention. So it was an idea, and I think they have my slides up here. We back up, there it is. It's my mail slot shade. And I asked my mother, who's over here, you mind giving my mother a round of applause? She helped me create my prototype on a sewing machine. We stuffed bags into this little pouch here. Now, yes, I did the heart. Wasn't my best piece. That's why it's probably in my mom's garage still. But I would create these for customers or that I would deliver papers to, and my mother and my aunt, who's here as well, they would sell them at their job as well, so they were part of my distribution and sales team. Fast forward to 8th grade, I entered this invention into the school-wide invention contest, and I came in 2nd place with this. And it boosted my ego, and it boosted my confidence about, being able to build something and think of new ideas. Fast forward, I was a senior in high school, at George Washington High School in the Northeast. Any George Washington alumni? Okay, 2 people. There you go. We were undefeated, public league champions. I was selected to be a part of the All-Star team. But anyone who played sports in Philadelphia, or at least played football in Philadelphia, knew that you really didn't make it unless Ted Solari wrote an exclusive on you in the newspaper. And it was 1992, November, 27 years from this month, I got my exclusive. Washington shuts out King. I'm sorry if anyone with the King. Inventive Rahman, a big hit. So again, early on, having an opportunity to be a part of the Philly Daily News. And then fast forward again, 2001, Hassan, who's over here, didn't know I would show this. Hassan Charles, I started a website called urbanphilly.com. Hassan Charles was the founder of Delaware Valley First Fridays. Anyone been to one of those events? And we realized that 1 + 1 could equal 11. And we partnered, and some great things came out of that. But I say all that to say that the Inquirer did something very important. As a young man, they validated my work, my story really mattered. They shared it, and I just want to thank them because I believe that's inclusive journalism. Please give them a round of applause for that. So we gather here again for another chicken dinner, right? I'm sure there's 3 or 4 of them going on tonight. But I think for a very important reason, a very important topic, and that's diversity and inclusion. I know I'm speaking to the choir for those who are here today who decided to make this a priority, that we know that diversity matters. The research speaks for itself. It's undisputable. McKinsey and Company did a study that showed that gender diversity and racial diversity increases your bottom line. There's study after study that shows it. There's seismic demographic shifts that are happening in this country, and customers, employees, shareholder activism's happening, and companies are no longer asking or requesting for diversity and inclusion, they are demanding it. It's important. So if you're looking to build a business, if you're looking to survive in the 21st century, to attract talent, to maximize opportunities, to really survive moving forward, diversity is important. It's not just a nice thing to do, it's a business imperative. And however, in many times in cities like Philadelphia, the elephant in the room, we say diversity and inclusion, and particularly in the private sector, the elephant in the room is equity. That's left out of the conversation. The nonprofit sector has talked much about it. The philanthropic sector is talking about equity. But we have to face the truth. The reality is Philadelphia has been recognized nationally as the poorest big city in the country. We are a city that's predominantly African American. We see the collateral damage to communities that were left behind in the late 1900s. Due to deindustrialization, we've seen government programs that incentivized white flight into the suburbs. It actually were programs that had very explicit language in them that were discriminatory. And we clearly see the effects of redlining, people who are left in clusters with no access to capital to buy homes, no access to capital really to build wealth. And I'd be remiss if I didn't really mention the fact that in here today, 2019 is 400 years since the first slave ships actually hit this country. They came to this country. And we cannot deny the fact that over the last, we're after 250 years of slavery, the last 150 years, we cannot deny that we've had tremendous progress. However, we cannot deny the fact that we have a lot more to go. We all agree.
Yes.
Yes.
it doesn't take a data scientist to see that poverty is a lag metric, if you will, to racial inequity in our city. Not to share this to shame anyone, to blame, to make people feel guilt, but it's incumbent upon us to recognize the root of the issues, to understand where we're at, and to address them together. In 2019, black and brown folks are still fighting. We're fighting in the schoolroom, we're fighting in the courtroom, and we're fighting in the boardroom. And that's why in 2017 we launched an initiative called Diverse Force on Boards. The goal is to make sure that we build a robust pipeline of talent to serve on nonprofit boards throughout the region. You know, organizations that are addressing some of our biggest challenges throughout the region. Our goal was to make sure that we diversify those boards to increase the social, cultural, intellectual capital of our nonprofit sector. And I make it very clear to those who go through the program, just amazing talent that goes through the program, that they don't need our program in order to qualify to serve on a board. I always say that, you know, everyone should have the right to serve on a board at the same level of incompetence as everyone else. Anyone who serves on a board knows what I'm talking about, right? But if we're looking to make this a world-class city, if we're looking to really solve some big challenges, it's important that we level up. Our goal was not to symbolically put black and brown faces in high places, but to make sure that day one, when they're on the board, they can be effective. From day one, they can make their presence felt throughout the organization, to make sure that we're truly making change and not to get caught in the echo chambers, if you will, and the consistency of thought and persistence of thought that we've had for many years that have continued to perpetuate the challenges that we have today. So in order for us to be a world-class city, for us to be the example for these United States that was born right here in Philadelphia, we must lock arms, get over our differences, and work together. Will we all agree?
Yes.
Again, it's not to point fingers and, you know, say this person or this person's reason or this person's fault. It's for us to look inside and say, hey, what can I do? What is my role to make sure that Philadelphia becomes a better place to live, a better place to work, a better place to play for all residents here. So I ask that when we leave here today, to get uncomfortable, to get outside of our comfort zone, to have tough conversations, not only with people that look like us, but tough conversations with people who don't look like us. Because again, time is of the essence. We don't have time, you know, for fancy speeches that are filled with empty rhetoric. We no longer have time to just set the tone for diversity or set the stage for diversity. It's important that we set the example for diversity. And because if we don't, at this stage, we're at a point where eventually our words will not be heard. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, our actions are speaking too loudly. So I just challenge us all to come together. Together we can all achieve great things in the city. We can make the city that is truly an example of what great leadership looks like. So I invite you to join us in that challenge. Thank you and have a great night.